Happy Friday. Captain Coder here. We're working on Base Raiders, little prototype 2D shmup, shoot 'em up game. Smab. So nice to see that. Actually, I accidentally made that Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Thanks for pointing out. I probably would have forgotten to do it. I accidentally made a fake one. If I think it probably also says it's starting at 3 p.m. and not 5 a.m. tomorrow. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Do 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 do. Day 24. But thank you. How do I edit? Set it for 5 a.m. tomorrow. Uh-oh. There it goes. Can't believe tomorrow is Saturday. All right, should be updated. Thank you. I didn't realize I'd actually made it while I was setting up this stream on YouTube. It asked me if I wanted to use a template, and I clicked yes, and then I accidentally guess I created it from that one. But yeah, thanks for the heads up. Always got my back, Smab. Yeah, but happy Friday. Good to see you again. Good to see you again. We are working on this Space Raiders little prototype game here. Gonna try and make as much progress as we can. I made some good progress on another project I'm working on. Putting together. This is probably gonna be the second or third project I do for my class next term, but getting back into the groove of writing stuff in Unity, and relearning how to do stuff, how to do unit tests and that sort of thing in Unity. My biggest gripe with Unity is that it out of the gate sort of it feels like, and this is probably just not true, but it feels like it encourages you to be a bad programmer. It feels like it encourages you to do bad practices. And I think it's just, you gotta really learn it. It's just easy. This is their current long-term support version. 2120 version, 2021. Yeah. This is their current long-term support version. 2022 is available. Yeah, if you go to your installs, this is actually the recommended version. Oh, actually, I'm pretty far away. You're right. I'm on a really old version. Let's see if we can break everything by installing this. Probably won't break anything, but I want to make sure I have WebGL support. Leave that running in the background. Oh, never mind. I'm installing the wrong thing here. Hang on. All right. If I go to installs, this is the version I'm on is their current long-term support version. I almost installed the really old one, 2020. 2022 is still in beta. So, I want to be using 2021 just because I want to be semi-stable. And when you say their version control, what exactly do you mean? I'm just curious. I don't quite understand what you mean. It's just how they label things, or I don't like that it's such an old version of C#. I really am looking forward to them updating it to newer version of C#. Scripts. What am I doing here? I was going to, I want to make it, be it you can destroy enemies, but destroying them I want to like increase a score, that sort of thing. Let's get a editor open here. Yeah, so you really only, you're right with that. You really only need one, supposedly, You really only need one of each of the years, right? But yeah, they update pretty frequently. And I'm just gonna, for the class I teach, I'm gonna say, all right, you have to have this one or whichever one I happen, to install. But basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have sort of some predefined projects that they import into their Unity Hub. Yeah, it's big. It's big updates too. I will say that's true. That's true. Their editor, I think, is like 16 gigabytes or something like that. So updated to the latest one takes forever. And if you have slow broadband, the install through Unity Hub, if your internet's slow, it like times out. I've had students in the past time out while just trying to install it, and it silently dies. It doesn't say, oh, it timed out. It says like installing, and then eventually just the little install window goes away. So I have had issues with that in the past. But maybe fixed with the new version of Unity Hub. Okay. An enemy spawner. We want to make it so when we destroy our enemies, we get some points from them. So let's make it so when you destroy an enemy, we get some points. Fly around, enemy comes in, blow us up. I can't destroy the enemy. There we go. All right, so when we destroy the enemy, we want to give ourselves some points. So we're going to create this idea of a score. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Part of what makes this a little bit crazy to me is just how much I feel like you just keep adding things to individual objects here too. So like if I go to I don't want my player, I want my game controller to have a score. That's what it is. Christoph, happy Friday. Welcome back. Welcome back. How are we doing today, Christoph? We're going to give ourselves int score. Start at 0. And when we destroy enemies, we want to increase our score. So the idea here is when where's spawn enemy? Oh, I wasn't quite done. Ooh, storm. I'm sorry to hear you got a nasty storm going on. Heard it affecting a lot of people. That's right, we have different enemies here. I need a better way to define enemies, I suppose. But yeah, an enemy needs to sort of have a score associated with it as well. Enemy ship. Same with asteroids. When you destroy asteroids, you should get some points. So we're gonna have this idea of like a destructible. I want to create a destructible type, and destructibles let you get a score. So create a new script. Destructible controller. All right, and the idea is something that's destructible. We're gonna sort of put these things together. Oh, did I already do this? Player impactor. Oh, I already made one called player impactor. No, not player impactor. What did I call it? All right, let's go look at our prefabs. Asteroid controller. Enemy ship. Oh, I guess I just put it in both of those. Enemy ship controller. Yeah, just put it in both. In fact, I want to move this into my destructible. Happy Friday, Formal Goose. Signing on. Today's task, adapting translation engine so that changing the language and setting auto changes all labels. Good, good, good. Sign on. Keep yourself honest. Over on my Discord channel, I have a channel called Stand Up that last summer we were using, me and my students over the summer, to basically do these sign-on, sign-offs. You're welcome to use that as well. Okay, so we have this destructible controller. The idea here is that we're gonna have an action. Yeah. Gonna have an on laser hit. I make a public action laser controller on hit. Get private set. Can I do this? It's gonna be a system.action, I think. There's some conflict. So one of the things that drives me a little bit nuts, Unity as well, is there's conflict between system and Unity engine. But I think action is what I want here. Field. Destructible. All right, and so we're gonna say on hit dot invoke with as laser. So you should be able to add this onto your object type and then add in a attach a controller to it, I think. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, do it. If you start doing it, I'll probably start doing it too. Because the only reason I kind of stopped was my students didn't graduate, but quote unquote graduated from the program that we were working on that summer. And so those were like my summer students who were just like in my program. But it'll make me, if you can get me to do something, that would be a good thing. All right, so we got an asteroid big. Yeah, asteroid big. The idea here is we want to attach the player impact on-screen controller. It also has a destructible controller. How do I get... If I did just action... Hang on here. If I do just action, can I put things in there? No. What if I don't make it a field? I know I can do this. I know I can do this because their buttons have it. I just gotta be smart here. I gotta be smart. Must not be action. Let's open up a web browser here and search for what it is. Unity, action, add method to mono behavior in editor. I need a method to a game object. Probably like an event or something. I don't want it to be an I reset. I want the object to be able to do a composition. Is it like a unity? Hang on, let's look at the code for buttons. Let's add a button somewhere. Let's go back here. To my main scene. Create a button. We'll import TMP. Screenshot inbound. Let's see it. Let's make this a little bigger here. What am I looking at? Spell that for me. A simplistic app to spell out phrases and words in the phonetic alphabet. Ooh. Neat. What's your status on it so far? Just a UI. What is it, or how much of it is functional? What's the functionality so far? Because the idea with my button is we have a action. Can I open edit script? So button clicked event is a Unity event. Okay, can I make can I add a Unity event to my destructible? Let's keep looking. Can I add Unity event to mono behavior? Events, Unity event, Unity engine.event, Unity engine.events.event. Unity event. Okay, I think this is what I want. I think. Let's get rid of this button. And we'll come back to our big asteroid destructible. There we go. So you can now we can, when destructible, we can add something that says like, here's some extra code to run when it's hit. If we need to, so sort of quote unquote extensible in that regard. But I want it to be what can I on hit can call a thing on itself. I'm not sure if this is what I really want. Yeah. But the idea with the destructible is I want a thing that when it gets hit by a laser, knows how to destroy itself or take damage in some way. Right now, it just sort of removes it. This isn't really what I want. I should read more about Unity events, though. Unity event of type T. Okay, So let's do using Unity engine.events, and it should be a Unity event of type laser controller. Okay, and then we do onHit.invoke as laser. Okay, so now we can say, okay, this is a thing that we call, so if it's a laser and onHit is not equal to null, we do that. But we also are going to have a default version. So the default is going to be if onHit is null, we're just going to destroy ourselves. Otherwise, we call this thing here. Yeah. So this is sort of what we're going to do here. All right. So we're going to set a field serializable serialized field, get private set. In fact, we kind of want this to be private. We don't want other people calling it on our behalf. And then we have a public int score or points. So like that's how many points we'll get. Private set, and we'll make this one a field serialized field. So on hit we'll destroy it. It also needs a reference back to the game controller, I think. Yeah. So I think it will on the game controller, but I need a reference to it, so that's a little bit tricky as well without having some sort of injection or a global field. But we'll do a public game controller here because I want my game controller so I can be able to update my score. Get private set. Oh, I need to give it a name. Game controller. The phone's bleeping at me. Okay. Game controller, and we'll serialize that as well. The idea being this is interesting that we call our game controller dot destroy. Not really quite what I want. Game controller dot update or increment or increment score by points. All right, so then in our game controller, we need to have an increment points, public void increment score int amount, and that we will have a score. Oh, I already made a score. So this dot score plus equals amount, and we can do some assertions here. Basically, say don't let there be a negative number here. This is what I make my students do. If amount less than 0, basically throw an exception saying don't do that. But we'll leave that alone for now. Increment score by points. And then we destroy this thing. could also just have a public void on destroy or destroy. I think there's already a destroy. Destruct. Oh, I'm so bad. Destroy. Destroy object. Destroy. It's going to destroy. So this will sort of be like the default. We'll call this default destroy. So we'll be able to sort of invoke it on ourselves if we need to as well. With the default destroy, increments our score, and then destroy. Oh, this needs to take in the laser. Laser, controller, laser. This dot game or destroy laser dot game object and destroy this. Let's do game object, right? Yeah. Okay. The default destroy is this code here. So when a laser hits it, we're going to increment the score by this point and then destroy ourselves in that way. The question kind of becomes, how do I get my game controller in here if my set is private? So maybe this is a time when set doesn't necessarily being private doesn't make sense. We want to set it to something that's not null though. And I want to keep it as simple, like relatively simple. I want my students to be able to understand what's going on with it as well. Yes, this is a destructible. Can do an extra on hit thing. I kind of just want to get rid of that. Because I'm not really using it. We'll do this for now. Let myself get a little bit crazy sometimes. We know when we make a thing. Okay, so this is how we do it. Let me think here. How do we do this? In our game controller. All right, so we want this in. Let's get it on our asteroids first. So we got our asteroid destructible. Small asteroid's worth 2 points. Oh, that's right. That's why I wanted to have that thing there, because the default is different for the big asteroid. It needs to replace itself with the small asteroid. So it's actually going to have a different event there. Yeah. Okay. So the small asteroid just destroys itself. But the big asteroid, it's not worth any. I guess we can make it worth 2 points as well. Well, games we like to have like increments. We'll do 50 points, and then our baby asteroid will do 10 points. Okay, big asteroid. When it gets destroyed, we have this asteroid controller. It's gonna run on laser hit. All right, so I can get rid of this, and instead, the on hit on this one is going to run. Oops. Asteroid controller. Surely the small ones are easier to hit and should be worth more. Yeah, I know. So they should. They should. You're right. You're right. You're right. I went through that thought as well. Oh, apparently this is not. This does not work the way I thought it would. I thought I'd be able to select from my menu, and then I want my asteroid to call. Static parameters. All right, so apparently this is not what I thought. I'd be able to call, make on hit, do something. But you're right, Smab. The smaller ones. All right, baby asteroids worth 100 points. Boom, boom. There we go. All right, the on hit. I want them to call. All right, so clearly I don't understand the event. If you wish to use a generic Unity event type, you must override the class type. Let's see, Unity event with parameter. Can you use Unity events to invoke method parameters from another class? You are very close to the desired result. Ah. I have to do. You're very close to the last thing to do. Change the type of Unity's event to actually have an event taking one parameter. This is interesting. Do I have to do this? Looks like this might not be enough. Destructible event. This will be fascinating. No. That did not change anything. All right, let's read. And replace Unity event with public interactional object event. Trying to understand this here. I'm a bit green. Similar to what is shown in the APL. One argument, my goal is to activate from another class the line where I add the event listener from method group to Unity action. Through events, does it only work if they're in this case method is moot? Is it possible that this is not how events with parameters work? Since when I add to the Unity event, it seems okay until I actually run the program. That guy's comment isn't even there. One argument version of Unity. If you wish to use a generic, is it? This like feels like what I want. Is it because, oh, I bet I know why. No, laser controllers should be serializable. What the heck is going on here? I change this to an int. What does that look like? Int 32. Method doesn't show up here at all. This needs to be public. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I am a dummy. That makes sense. Well, we'll see. We'll see. There it is. Yeah. And then we invoke it with as laser. I'm a dummy. Okay. There we go. So on hit, we can make it do, if it's specified, it will do. I know, Smab. I should just make everything public. I should make everything public everywhere. Okay. So we have that. So when our big asteroid gets hit, we're gonna do the on laser hit, which destroys it. But really what we want to do is, we know that this thing is we want to do this spawn, and then I think we actually want to make it take 2 arguments, and then the destructible controller. So it's going to pass itself in there as well, so that if you need to call default destroy, you can. And then on laser hit should also take destructible like this. So we're gonna do this thing, and then we'll do destructible dot default destroy laser. So you just sort of pass it off there. All right, let's see if we broke everything. So we have a destructible. It's gonna call on laser hit. See, now it shows up there as the first option. It's like, hey, by the way, this is the only thing that meets those parameters. Cool. And then our asteroid baby is just gonna use the default thing. We need to make it so when these things spawn, our asteroid spawner needs to set the game controller. So our asteroid spawner needs to know about the game controller. This feels overly complex, so I'm not happy with how complex it feels. My goal was to make it simple. Testable is the other thing. It'd be nice to make things testable, which I haven't done a great job in this project. But, you know, that's how you learn. That's how you learn, is you go and you try something, you fail over and over and over, and then eventually it like kind of works out. All right, since our game controller needs to be propagated. Alternatively, we can like, Unity likes to do this thing where you like add a tag, be like, hey, this thing's game controller, and then you can sort of like get element by tag to go find your game controller, which I don't like that. That feels like a bad practice to me. So instead, I think what we're gonna do is our asteroid spawner has a reference to the game controller. When we spawn an asteroid, we are going to, so in the asteroid spawn, we know that it has the destructible component attached to it. So it like requires, there's like a thing you can do, require component public destructible no, contain a constructor that takes require component that go here. Require component destructible controller type of. See, now we're getting into like some advanced things. So in the editor, if we don't have a destructible attached, it will complain. So in asteroid, if we don't have this, it says it can't be removed. Asteroid controller must have a destructible. So it's like it depends on it. So now I know for sure this thing has a destructible. So in my spawn, I can say new asteroid.get component destructible controller dot set game, and we'll make this thing accept a game controller. Set dot game controller equals game controller. So this is going to require a game controller to construct, and we will go to our destructible, and this needs to be, I'm going to make this settable. And I should probably make it so you can't set it to null. So it should like throw an exception if it's null. That would be the best practice there. But then I have to create like a backing field. And so I'm going to leave it for now. But when I go back to recreate this project, I will probably do that for my students to make it a little bit better practices. And we spawn the asteroid here in our asteroid spawner, and we'll just propagate our game controller down to it. Template, rotation speeds, game controller. All right, let's see if we still have asteroids. Let's see if everything broke. Input button not set up. Still have asteroids, you can still break them. Oh, that small one looked like that small one didn't break. Yeah, the small one didn't break. But I bet if we look at our game controller, our score is increased because we've dealt damage, because we've done stuff. Let's get rid of our event system and our canvas here. Those were made when I was playing around with button to figure out how to add in the events the way I wanted to. So that should get rid of those. It's just saying that there's some input that's not defined somewhere in the settings. Okay, so we have our, oh yeah, the baby asteroid. The default destructible is not null, This is interesting because apparently this isn't null. It's just empty. So then we're gonna, can we do an on hit dot? It's can we? Yeah, can I want to know how many listeners are on it. It's not this null thing. So fascinating. Unity event get listeners. How to get Unity event listeners. There's no way to directly get the functions that stop listening, but whenever an event, you can store a reference object that listened. I want to know Unity event check for listeners. Kind of late. Get persistent event count. So there's something here that I kind of don't want to have to tell my students about is get persistent event count. This feels crazy. Get the number of registered persistent listeners. If it's 0, I guess that's actually not that bad. We can basically say if the list here is empty, use the default. Well, nullable, null reference. Our game controller's null. Fascinating. I think our game controller's null. Let's go to line 34. Yeah, game controller's null. Asteroid spawner. This is where failing fast is the correct thing to do. So I should do a thing here that says if this is what exactly what I was talking about with setting game controller. I don't want it to be able to get set to null. If I go back up, I have so many things going on here. Oh, it's because this isn't yeah. So this here, I need to call spawn like this. I should actually do spawn on destroyed template, rotation speed. And then the game controller from the one that's sort of attached to this. All right, that's fascinating. Screen is, it's a long line. Maybe I should just do a thing that when it sort of starts itself up, it finds the game controller. It's an interesting thought there. I definitely don't like this. Could also have a private reference to it. Private game controller, game controller. And new asteroid dot game controller. And then we just pass that off. Oh, new asteroid dot game controller. I'll just do this. And I'll have the same thing. Feels so awkward here. Let's make this. And we don't need to see it in our editor. Similar in our destructible. It really doesn't need to be visible in our editor. Except if we want to make sure it's not null, essentially. All right. Okay. Think that'll work. Oof. Let's give it a shot. There we go. The position's not getting updated properly now. The position's putting it in the wrong spot because it's calling the asteroid template. And down here we spawn it, and then I need to update its position. New obj dot transform dot position equals transform dot position. That was interesting. Can these do their lasers destroy the asteroids? That was interesting. I don't think they should. No, they don't. Okay, but we can destroy those. Our score goes up. Let's. All right, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work. Let's add this to our enemies. Which should be, now that we've done quote unquote a lot of work, our enemies, it should be relatively easy to add it in, I hope. Destructible controller, and the idea is in our enemy ship controller we no longer need this trigger. We no longer need this code here. Instead, we're going to say that require component destructible controller type of Mohammed. Oh, sorry, not Mohammed. Mohammed Dreza. Sorry, I don't. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that right over on YouTube. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that okay. But hello, happy Friday, my friend. This thing requires a destructible, so we're added that to our enemy, and now we can say that enemies are worth 250 points. All right, if you destroy an enemy, you get 250 points. Let's Let's give it a shot. Not seen you check anything in as you go long. Sorry, Smab. Oh, seeing me check anything in? You say as far as like GitHub goes? Now when I spawn an enemy ship, I need to make sure it also gets in a game controller. And enemy ship controllers have to have destructible. So new enemy dot get component destructible controller dot game control equals game controller. And when we spawn these, we pass in game controller. Then we want to have one of these on our enemy spawner. Field, serialized field, private, game controller, get that. We can make this public actually. Mohammed Dreza, thank you for popping in. I hope you're doing well. What brings you here today? What brings you by? Do you are you a programmer? Do you make games? Oh, sorry, Smab, I completely missed the part where you said, have you got anything? Have you got this stage under Git? Seems it would be incredibly easy to break things in a way making it hard to start. Yeah, so it's all checked in. I should probably check it in more frequently as I fix things. I've basically been checking it in at the end of each video. What I really should do is at the end of each stream session, I should tag it. My idea is I want to be able to go back and look at those segments. But yeah, I have been checking it in. I don't know why it says there's so many things. Oh, it's saying there's a lot of things checked in because I added in a library. The like text renderer is like a giant library it decided to add in. That's why it has so many things. I should be doing more incremental commits though. Absolutely, I haven't been doing the incremental commits. But I could go back to sort of, an hour ago. All right, can I destroy? I can't. Come on. What's going on here? Because I didn't set the enemy spawner here. This drives me nuts too in Unity. Having to like attach things like this is a little bit annoying. And I'm sure there are things that... So what I will say is Unity is really good. There we go. Although I destroyed both of them with a single laser and I didn't want to be able to do that. All right, so I can destroy the enemies now. Now would be a good time to commit. Git add. Assets. Script. And prefabs and scene, and then we'll do a thing that says git commit -m chore add destructible controller, remove duplicate code in asteroid and enemy ship in favor of a single destructible controller that allows that does the work. There we go. So we're quote unquote in a working state here. Pew pew pew. Dota, happy Friday, my friend. How you doing? Enjoying your break, I hope. All right, yeah, we got a destructible controller here. Am I ever? Good, good. Happy to hear it. Very happy to hear it, my friend. Yeah, destructible require component. Not a polygon collider, but a collider 2D. Type of. That way we can do the trigger. Assuming I can type parentheses properly. How long are you on vacation, Dota? Excellent. Excellent. Okay. January 3rd. Not bad. So like 2 weeks, that 2 weeks. We go until we start back on January 9th. Okay. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Okay, so then I had... Oh, I wanted to get the UI, right? So I wanted to add in a little thing that shows the score on the screen. No, I have no idea when you started. That's true. That's true. So we're gonna add in here our canvas. We're gonna say that our canvas is associated to a single camera, and that it is constant scale with width. Yeah, so in our game we chose 360 by 640. And let's make this text, this will be score. And I have a better font somewhere. Let me go find it. I want to get a better font here. In my adventure quest. Got a... Although this font might not be what I want. Create folder fonts. Oh, it's interesting I call it assets. I want to call it sprites. My font. Let's see how I feel about this. I might want to go find a better arcadey font. But with our Text Mesh Pro, we're going to add in a font here. From this one, generate font atlas. Save it as that. And now our score here, we can say that we want this to be this font. Let's go with, we want it positioned in the top, stretched, 0, 0, 96. I bet, ooh, that might be too big. Let's see what 96 looks like. Our pivot should be from the top, like that. Let's set our font here. Try 96. Too big. 72, 64. Let's try bold. So we'll make this 64. Centered. Text align, centered. And we'll go with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. How many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go with 8. You can get up to 99 million points. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 99,999,999. Then you'll roll over. All right, so the idea is this is going to update when our score updates. So we're going to attach this to our game controller. And to anytime our score changes, we want to do that. So in our code down here, in our game controller, we've got to add in using TM Pro. Yeah, I got it right. Field. Really, I want to add in like a new component called like HUD manager or something. Let's do that. Let's do that. We're gonna create a HUD. HUD. Let's add a new script. We'll call this overlay controller. I'm having way too many things inside of here. My game controller has way too many things. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's too much. But our overlay controller, let's get that into our scripts folder. And overlay controller. This is going to have a reference. Yeah, so this one's going to be using TM Pro. And I hate the name of this thing, but it is going to be a public text mesh pro UGUI. It's going to be our score box there. Field, serialize field, and we'll make this thing private. There's no reason for it to be accessible outside of here. The idea is this thing will know how to update the score, so we're gonna register. We're gonna find our game controller, and we'll have an event that when our score changes, we update this thing. Public void on start. Not on start, I think it's just start. It's gonna find our game controller and register itself on it. So private game controller get that field serialize field. And so our even better. I'm getting better at Unity here. Require an overlay controller has to be attached to something that has a game controller. So you can't have an overlay controller unless you also have a game controller, and that's gonna make it so that I don't need this. I mean, I can just not serialize it out. And when we start up, we say game controller. Make this like this. Game controller. Private, we don't need to do that. Equals get component game controller. So when this thing starts, we know it has one. I love that. All right. And then also when it starts, we're gonna have in our game controller, we're gonna have an event. See if I can remember how events work in C#, or if events are things that work in what are we calling this? C#8 for Unity. So we're gonna have a public event on score change. Like on when the score changes, this thing is gonna be an action score. System, can I do this? Int. Can I use actions in Unity? Sometimes you're not allowed to use this type of thing in Unity. Like if I try to compile it to WebGL, it'll break. So there are certain things, certain features. Is it safe to use action in Unity WebGL? I'm stuck with an event not triggered. think it's probably okay. I'm like 90% sure I've done this before. Yeah, I hate that I kind of do this, but it should be okay. Let me see. Unity event versus I guess I should use a Unity event versus action. Why choose Unity event or a native C# event? Nope, you are not overlooking. The only advantage and reason to use Unity event is it allows you to use events in the editor. That's for drag and drop people or those making editor plugins. Okay. So I could make this I could do this unity engine unity event of type int. So I could do this, and then we can register stuff in the editor. Okay. So now our game controller has this on score change, and we can say that, let's add in our score here. We're gonna say that when this happens in our overlay, oh, did I not add in our overlay? I gotta add a method in here, public void update score int score, and then we do score.text equals score dot toString dot left add 8 0. Okay. So now in the editor, I can connect it here rather than in the code. And I don't even need the game controller at that point. So a reason to not do that would be that I can... So depends on how I want to teach my students. I think it might be nice to teach them how to do it this way, but the like programmatic way. So let's see. Oh, I haven't done that. So in our game controller, we actually want to now add in a backing field for our score. Right? So I have a private int score is 0. Our get returns score, and our set score equals value, and then we also trigger our event. So on score change score dot invoke. Okay, so now anytime our score changes, it'll notify everyone that it changed. I'm learning stuff. This is cool. I've never used that before. So now our game controller, we can say trigger increment score. All right, so whenever the on score change, we'll trigger that. Of course, if we edit the score here, nothing will happen. But if we, well, something's super broken. Input button submit is not set up. Yeah, I don't. My event system, can I disable that? All right. Because I modified my default input controllers. The requested operation has caused a stack overflow. Well, Fascinating. Oh, I'm calling increment, that's why. I'm I don't want to call that overlay controller called update score. I was basically saying that when you get when your score changes, increment your score, double, you essentially keep increasing your score. There we go. All right, so we got a little shmup here where we can get a score like that. We want our score to always be on top. So our canvas, we can do this by setting our order and layer high. We'll put it to 1,000 in this case. And now things come in, they come in underneath. All right. Not bad. Ooh. Okay. And as requested by our good friend Smab, we made an incremental change. Git commit. Of course, it added in all my tech stuff here, but git commit chore, add overlay, and score overlay with score. That's what I'll do. Okay. Progress. That's good. I'm gonna go for another 30 minutes here. So what do I want to try and get done in the next 30 minutes? I have a score. I'm shooting. I could try and add in some sound effects. I could add in like lives remaining. That might be fun to do. Add in like little ships, so you can get hit 3 times and you get a game over screen. I think that's what I'll do next. I think I'll add in a lives remaining to this. So we have my player controller is getting thick. I would call this a thick. Has so many things attached to it. I almost want to make a new, maybe I just want to organize my code a little bit right now to think about how to do this. So for example, make like a lean controller. Just to reduce how much code. It's just a lot of fields. The code itself isn't that bad. Maybe like a sprite controller. Maybe I'd call it a sprite controller. Or player sprite controller. I'm just looking at the number of fields that a player has, and it feels like a lot. I used Smab. I worked at a company. I love Git. Let me start by saying I love Git. We used Subversion. The first place I worked that was a real company. So I actually worked at a university as like a student software. I had a job title called software analyst 1 or 2 or something like that. And I was essentially like the only programmer for a department at my university. Like I got hired as a staff person. And I was the only programmer, and so it's sort of like Wild West there. I had learned about Subversion at my my undergrad, and so I had like a Subversion on my home computer that I would remote stuff through. But yeah, copying, like making your manual version control, copy version 0, version 1, version 2, whatever, and then like putting it on disk somewhere. More of backups than anything, but God, I love Subversion. Was painful, but did it all right, you know, having to put locks and stuff. So Subversion, when I was using it, at the very least, we weren't using it with branches, so you would end up putting locks on files. You would say, this file is locked, I'm editing it. And so you really couldn't work on, you know, it wasn't great for collaboration. It was great for individual backup. Git is just so nice. Yeah, so I need to go through and like really chunk this out into Subversion. Yeah, Git. We're talking about Subversion with Git. Oh, SVN, yeah, Subversion. Subversion was, well, so Subversion, Git takes snapshots. That's the biggest thing, is Git takes snapshots, where Subversion actually only records diffs. So to get to the latest version, you actually have to start at the beginning and like play forward all the changes to get there. So if you want to go back, it actually just goes, oh, well, this commit did these modifications. And so you have all the actions rather than snapshots. And so that makes Git, there are things about Git that are just like so much better in that regard. Our player controller doesn't have lives remaining. It's like our game controller has number of lives remaining. So I've sort of mixed up concerns here a little bit. So I'm gonna have to find a way to refactor this a little bit to be a little bit smarter. But our game controller actually keeps track of the number of lives in the field. Public int lives remaining, get private set is 3. Okay. And we're going to do a similar thing here with like an event that when lives remaining changes, it sort of notifies a little like lives display down here. So we're going to add in, I don't even know that I really need to add this graphic in, but there's another graphic here. For life. Oh, it is a little bit different. I don't need to just shrink that. But probably add in a player damage, so the player can take a hit. Ooh, there's an enemy UFO. That's cool. So let's go to sprites. Oops, wrong button. Sprites. We're gonna add in life. All right, and then we're gonna add in a little thing here. It's gonna be part of our UI. That will be multiple images. UI image, and the image is gonna be image sprite like that. And this thing, I make it sort of not stretch. That's interesting. I just need to know the dimensions of this thing. What are the dimensions? Properties. Can I see dimensions here? Do I have to actually open it up in GIMP to see it maybe? I was hoping they would show up here. If I went to information, it might. Yeah, let's find the dimensions of this here. Image, there has to be a better way. It's 35 in width. Width 35, 27. Okay. So this is part of our UI, and so this is going to be our lives. Yeah, I'm just dumb, I think. I don't see it here. But I found it in GIMP, so I'm not too worried about it. So we're gonna have a little object here called lives, remaining lives count. All right, and this thing is gonna have little images that it sort of adds in here. So it's gonna just sort of duplicate this thing over and over, left to right, based on how many lives we have. And we're gonna position our lives count is gonna be in our bottom left corner. And our pivot should be 0 and 0, I think. Yeah. And we'll make it actually stretch across the bottom. And be 30 tall. And then this thing, these are gonna go from left to right. The position should just be like that, and the pivot happens to be 0 and 0.5. And we'll give it a little padding there. And we'll give it a little padding from the bottom as well. Left, 10 pixels, 10 pixels, 10 from the right. Okay. So that'll be our lives there. And the idea will be that we can basically turn these on, or maybe we should have a little thing that has like a, you know, in a little number that shows up, it says like X3. But I like the idea of having it sort of put them across the bottom as you get them. So this will be our lives controller, our lives count here. Get a new script called lives overlay controller. And we'll put that in our script. And we should probably add in some overlay stuff. So I'll move my overlays. Oh, that's going to really upset Unity. Unity gets really upset with you if you move files outside of Unity. It has like metadata that it tracks. All right, so overlay and then lives overlay controller. So when you move stuff, it like moves that metadata with it. And if you move it outside, so for some reason they said, I guess it makes sense actually. Every single file here has a metadata file associated with it that if you move outside of Unity and you don't move it with it, it yells. So you gotta be a little careful with that. This should probably be called score overlay controller. Score. So let's break everything. Like that. Let's see if that broke our... It didn't. Okay, that seemed to be okay. Make sure my score still works. Oh, that looks pretty good. This is feeling like it's almost a game. It could almost be fun and playable is how it feels. But let's get this lives overlay working. So the lives count essentially needs to have a... All right, so we're gonna say I've attached it to the wrong thing, actually. Should be part of my game controller. Yeah. All right, so remove. Instead, it needs a reference to, like, maybe I want this here. It's interesting the way we want to do it. Yeah. Interesting. Let's think about it here. My lives count. It's gonna have a property, public. What? Lives overlay controller public. It really wants to instead have a public image. What is this type called? Unity UI image. So it's going to have a image lives image, and using Unity UI, I'll get this to be a get private set. Honestly, it should probably be private, because if you can get it, it's not immutable, so you can actually modify it. So don't like that idea. Field, serialized field. So it has an image, and then it also needs to have a container. An image and a rect transform. Really, I think it's the rect transform that's interesting here. But yeah, we need a public rect transform container. Field, serialized field. And this thing, we're gonna move it. This isn't gonna be attached here. Let's get rid of this. Instead, yeah, it's not attached to that. Instead, our game controller is gonna have a lives overlay controller. And lives image. I'm curious. Source image, it should probably be a sprite. I don't think I can just put this in here. Yeah, I think it should be a sprite, and then I should construct one and make it the right size and whatnot. But let's do this and this. And then we'll have a method here. The idea is that, yeah, this is the lives template. When it boots up, it's going to disable this. So public void start lives image dot active game object.active false. So it's going to disable that thing, but it uses this as a template. I think I'm supposed to use set active. And then we have a method here that says public void draw lives int or render lives int amount, and then it sort of will duplicate this thing. So it's going to take our container. See, this is why I think I shouldn't have this here, because I want to clear everything out of the container and then draw new things in there. Based on the amount. So part of me thinks I need a sprite. Can I just make a new image? And use new image. Due to its protection level, image dot instantiate. I need an original. Can I just instantiate image? Let's look it up. Unity instantiate image. Confirm. Instantiate prefab. I just want to instantiate a new instantiate image without template. This is pretty old. Can I just create an image? Unity UI image. Can I just make spawn one of these into existence? Static. Instantiate clones the object original and returns the clone. Image.instantiate. What if I don't have an original? Unity instantiate image without original. Without prefab. Any stock materials you find. Don't. Unity construct image from sprite. Unity dynamically create image in code. Try getting more use Unity and watch tutorials made by Unity as well. They help a lot. All right, apparently I just need to make a prefab, which is a little bit disappointing. So we'll go to prefab and we'll say lives. Lives. Lives image. And then our we will, all right, so now, can I make this? All right, so you, there's a layout, horizontal layout group. So I think I can make it now if I just add several things. If I add things to this, it should automatically lay them out. Yeah. So the idea here is lower left, padding, width. There we go. And then we add in 5 pixels of padding. There we go. So we're just going to add that image in multiple times. So we have this nice little for loop that adds these images in based on the number of lives that we get passed in. And our lives image happens to be, so if we go to our game controller, it's this one. And that's our container. So render lives is container dot transform dot detach children. No, destroy. We're gonna loop through all of our children. So we say, I'm surprised we can't. All right, let's see. Unity, Unity, destroy all children. Do I have to just write a loop to do it? Old 2014 answer. 2019 is a little more. To go through the list of children, destroy them better. If you put them in a parent game object and just destroy that one, in case you need it, EP in the future. We can do it for each like this. That's what I want. That's fascinating. So we say for each I'm curious what it is. Transform child in container. Oops. Container. Destroy child. And I'm going to loop them out times in 4. Int I equals 0. I is less than amount. I plus plus. Container dot add child dot transform dot add child. Oh, you make a child and you said it's parent. It's such a weird thing. There's not like an add child here. So instead we're going to instantiate an image, lives image, and we're going to say image new or image equals, and we do image.transform.parent is equal to container dot set parent dot set parent. Yeah, that's such an interesting way. I guess it's fine. Is the container doesn't have anyway. So this will do it, then set that to the parent. And I'm hoping because of the way. So I want you to be able to potentially have any number of lives. You're correct. You could do that. You could set their visibility so there is an active. We can turn them on and off. But then so that would be one option, to have an array of these things, and then you do it that way. That's another option, is you could have an array of them and you loop through and you enable them as you go. So like either way, yeah, that would be fine. we could do that. But if we want to have an infinite number of lives, although as our lives come in here, so like if we get, it's just gonna go off the screen anyway, so I don't know how I really feel about that. Anyway, this is why I was thinking it might actually make sense to just have it say, you know, have the little ship there and then have a little X3 or X5, whatever it happens to be. But yeah, our lives thing now, and so now in our game controller, we're gonna add in another listener. So we have lives remaining, excuse me on my hiccups there. See, like this is just getting infinite lives, yeah. I need to have another one of these. And this one happens to be on lives change. And then we make this have a private int lives remaining. And same thing here, where this is now going to be lives remaining, and our set is remaining equals value, and on lives change.invoke lives remaining. All right. It's been fun getting back into using Unity. Last time I really used it, it was version 2019, I think. So they've changed, the way you do overlays and stuff has changed. Oh, of course my lives don't change. And I could probably set a little boundary there at the bottom. You can't go behind it. I need to make it so when you die, the number of lives changes. So in our game controller, spawn player, destroy player would be lives remaining minus. And then we sort of need to have a thing here that says, when we go to spawn a player, if lives remaining greater than 0, we'll do this. Otherwise, we'll trigger a game over screen to show up. So that's actually accounted for. Yeah, we start at 0, so if lives is at -1, it just won't draw any. I did think about that for a second. All of that was all right. I'm a liar. Lives, where are my lives? 1 live remaining. It's not updating, which is very disappointing. And that's, I think, because I didn't actually put it in there. Hang on, I didn't attach it. In my game controller, I need to on lives change here. Yeah, I think when you're down to well, 0 lives, so 1 life, it will show how many times you can, how many hits you can take, essentially. So this thing should be lives overlay render lives. So it should start out with 3, right? So we have 3. I get hit and can't remove. I need to do destroy child.game object. So the number down there is how many lives, how many more times I can get hit. I see what you're saying. So it's like the number of lives you have after this one. And of course that didn't work. Why didn't that work? I'm gonna have to put a debug in here. All right, Smab. I'm off by some amount again. Rendering. I kind of remember that. I know what you're saying. I remember asking, you know, oh, does 0 count? Rendering 2 lives. All right, so let's pause. They're invisible. They're disabled. And that must be because in my prefab. All right, let's go to my prefab. My prefab isn't disabled by default. What the heck? Image.game.active game object.active equals true. Set active. That's weird. Or maybe they're off in space somewhere because they like their rectangle probably got shrunk in some weird way. I bet that's what's going on. Yeah, their size, their scale. What? For some reason is going crazy. What is... So not shrunk, something else. So it's like set local. I need them to instantiate inside of an object, I think. Container. All right, I think it was because yeah, it's super weird. So when you're dealing with like overlay elements, let's see if this works. When you're dealing with overlay elements for some reason, so it put it on the screen somewhere and then decided you wanted it to do that. It's trying to be intelligent for you. Let's see. We're close here. I'm going a little overtime right now. Gosh, what's going on? All right, let's pause these. All right. Why are they... I don't quite understand why they're not active. Unpause. All right, I do still need to set them active for some reason, which I am also confused about. Oh, it's prefab in that context. Okay, if I go to my players here, I do have them as disabled there for some reason. I remember disabling them and then I made a prefab out of them disabled. Oh my gosh. My game controller, I need to re-add in this, I think. Why didn't that update? Okay. Maddening. I'm gonna do this. My game controller. When my game controller starts, we are gonna set lives remaining to 3 so that it will force it to render. All right, I'm losing my mind. Why does it keep disabling? Save. This is insanity. None. All right, it's enabled. I'm about to lose my mind. What the heck? This makes no sense. All right, well, insanity. I'm about to lose my mind. All right. There we go. That took way longer than it needed to. And then last hit, boom. We shouldn't respawn. Yeah. Okay. All right. I kind of like your thing too, Smab. We're gonna say that it's 1. We start at 1, so we show how many lives we have after this one. So if there are no lives down there, then that's it. I like that dire feeling of, oh no, there's no ships down there. If I take a hit, I'm done. There we go. All right. Boom. Okay. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. We can get rid of this. What did we really do here? More things than we should have. I spent in middle school I spent a lot of time hanging out in arcades. So ages like 12 through 15-ish. I had friends who were like arcade employees. There were 2 arcades I went to a lot. There's one called Tilt and there's another one called Hinkle. Spent a lot of time in arcades. So I do remember that. I remember, but it was different from game to game. I remember having asked a question like, does 0 count? So if you have 0 lives remaining, are you dead? Was the question. Over on Discord, if you're on the Discord, I have a stand-up channel on Discord. Goose used it, so that's going to try and encourage me. I'm going to try and use it. Keep me honest about what I'm trying to do. Work in progress. Add lives. So the idea of a stand-up, so if you work at a company that practices like agile style stuff, a stand-up is sort of you're saying like today, here's what I'm planning to accomplish today. Here's what I'm going to try and accomplish today. So the stand up is like you say, here's what I'm working on, and then usually you also will say yesterday I got this. Yeah, so like that's the only idea. Is it's there sort of when I was doing it over the summer. It was there to keep my students. We didn't meet every day, but they were supposed to be working every day, so it was so they could inform me what they were doing and keeping me abreast with their progress. Feeling pretty good about this. All right, so I'm gonna stop there. Post a link to the repository in case anyone wants to access it. Check out what's going on that branch. But yeah, making some progress. Making progress, and I'm happy about that. But I will be back tomorrow for day 24, Advent of Code. Same bat time, same bat place, right? 5 a.m. Arizona time. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. It was super fun, and you're welcome back anytime.